Yeah.
Okay, so welcome everybody to the Visibility Shift workshop. And Tom and I were super excited to share this with you. And just before this call, we were talking about, we haven't planned pretty much anything. And the reason why we do this is because we really want to show you that it's okay for you to just show up with the wisdom that you have. And it doesn't have to be super polished and prepared, and you carry that wisdom within. And we want to live by example, showing that we can just show up, be authentic, and create a lot of magic, co-create with you guys. And if you can as well, turn your camera on. That would mean so much to us. So it doesn't feel like we're just talking to each other and we can actually see you guys. If you can't do it, that's fine. But if you can, we appreciate that so much. And I want to give you a framework of what we can expect on this workshop. And so we're going to begin with a little breath work. We're going to get into our bodies, get out of our minds, really connect with ourselves. And from there, I'm going to do a quick introduction about me, why I'm doing this workshop, why this matters to me, and also a quick introduction about Tom and his journey for what I've seen on my own eyes. But Tom is going to have a lot of time to talk. And then I'm going to share with you a few of the fundamental stuffs that we need in order for us to get results in our content. So there's three aspects that I know are the main aspects for you to see results posting content, but also enjoy what you're doing. And I'm going to cover more specifically one of them. From there, I'm going to pass on to Tom. We're going to have a chat and understand Tom's journey to become super comfortable with visibility, showing up as his real self. And not only that, getting results, getting people sending feedback to him, resonating with his message, following him. And so and when I say following him, it's not about gaining followers. It's about connection, connecting with more people, reaching more people, helping more people. So Tom is going to share his own journey with that. And at the end of this workshop, I'm going to help you to actually integrate the lessons that you learned here today and take your first action towards this new you, becoming more comfortable with being seen and posting content that actually people resonate with and get you results. So let's begin. So first, to start off, we're going to do a quick breath work. We're going to come into the body, into the heart, let go of the mind, and increase our nervous system capacity to receive and this call. So we'll be doing 30 breaths in and out through the mouth. I'll be counting for you, so you don't need to count. Just focus on the breath. And the most important thing, when you breathe in, go really deep into the belly, expand your chest. And on the exhale, softly let it out. Don't blow it out, just softly release, almost like a sigh. We'll be doing this 30 times, and then we're going to do a breath hold. So let's begin. Fully in, softly out. 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 Fully in, we're halfway there, softly out. Now, in your own pace, continue breathing. Fully in, softly out. Keep breathing, fully in, softly out. 5 more, keep going, fully in, softly out. One more. Fully in. And on the exhale, fully empty your body. Out, out, out. Empty your body and hold your breath with your lungs fully empty. And witness alchemy happening through you in your body. Feel all the sensations and hold your breath. Keep holding. And whenever you're ready, at your own pace, you're going to take it fully in, squeeze to the top of your head and hold. Squeeze and hold to the top of your head. Hold, squeeze, and whenever you're ready, softly release. Coming back into the body. Connecting with your intention for being here today and what you wish to receive out of this experience. All right. Whenever you're ready, you can come back. Hopefully, you're feeling more present, more grounded. And I apologize, I got a blocked nose. I had a cold a few days ago, so my voice is a bit nasal. But yeah, it's all good. Okay, so first I want to share with you why I'm doing this work, why I'm doing this workshop, why I focus so much on visibility. And it's, I've reflect a lot about my whys. And I truly believe that when we are able to change culture, we are able to change the world. And I really want more good people to start showing up more. I see so many amazing humans that have a beautiful heart. And because of sometimes not dealing well with social medias or visibility or creating content, feels like that these beautiful humans, they're not sharing the beautiful message that they have to share. And I think the way for us to create a positive shift in the world is for us to share those things that we know, the wisdom that we carry in our hearts, our beautiful energy, our excitement and joy for life, and most importantly, our authenticity. Being real and showing others that it's safe to be real, it's safe to be seen by being yourself. So I believe that the more people do this, the more we can create a positive impact in people's lives. And even if we do that for one person, that one message that helps someone when they need, wouldn't that be amazing? So yeah, I want more beautiful humans sharing their message, and this is really why I do this. And my journey with content creation has been really a roller coaster for most of my life. I've never been okay with visibility, and I was a very self-conscious person. I come from a family of healers in Brazil, and they're musicians, healers, and I had a beautiful upbringing, but I was always the black sheep of the family. I had ADHD, hyperactivity, and really didn't follow the norms of my family. So for me, most of the time, I was rebelling against those things and really questioning the ways of living. So I travel all around the world. I lived in about 9 countries by now, and Bali is my home for the last 8 years. I have a family here. Me and my wife live here with our son. And this is where my journey really began. So back then, I was always trying to start businesses by being the person in the background. I would like to see people successful, but I didn't want to be seen. And I had this identity. I'm the person behind the curtains. But I understood that that was just a protection mechanism for me, for not to be fully seen. And as I stepped into my spiritual journey, I realized that the next level of my success would only come with visibility. If I want to have a positive impact, if I want to reach more people, I have to be okay with being seen. And the process for me to be seen was I had to shed all the layers. I had to drop the masks. And I had to be okay with how people may judge and perceive me. And this is a constant work in progress. Every now and then, if I'm creating content, I realize, hey, who am I trying to please here? Who am I trying to be palatable for? Am I being real with myself, or am I trying to get something out of it? And I believe that the more authentic we can be, the more real we can be, and the purest our intentions, the better the ripple effect that we get. So this is why we're here today. And I've been working for a long time mastering content. I've been able to create 4 Instagram accounts, and 4 of them I was able to reach more than 10,000 followers. And I have this ability. I know what's going to go viral, and I know what's going to reach a lot of people. And I'm always playing with it. The reason I know it because I like to play and I like to understand the game. And very recently, I was able to do this again with my account. I had a reel that reached over 3 million people. We got me thousands of followers. I've done again very recently with another reel. So it really works. But I want to share with you the 3 aspects that you need in order to get your content work. So this is going to be the first part of this workshop. I'm going to share these 3 aspects, and then I'm going to share the main one that we're going to be focusing on today. Oh, and by the way, sorry, I almost forgot. After that, Tom is gonna come in as well, and I'm gonna do a little Q&A with Tom, and I want you to really relate to Tom's journey because Tom started as well as a pretty much dormant account. I remember Tom had 400 followers on his account when he started. He was still talking about music, and Tom knew he was meant to do a shift on his social media, didn't know what that would be, and he's been on an amazing journey. And I'm a big fan of Tom's content. I love his authenticity. I love how he shares his message. I learn a lot from his content. So it's a real gift to have him sharing here his process to do that too. So back on what I was saying, the 3 main pillars of content. So the first one that we need to is the foundation of everything. I see a lot of people, they care about the hooks, how to start a reel, how to get, capture people's attentions, the algorithm and strategies. But this is literally the last thing someone should be focusing if they are not getting results yet. And the first foundation of this is really doing the inner work. So what I've studied is there are 7 main visibility blocks that everyone has at different scales. You're going to have some are not going to be big for you, but you're going to have a main visibility block. I'm not going to go in depth what the 7 visibility blocks are today because that would be a whole topic for another story. But I'm doing another workshop in 2 weeks from now where we're going to go in depth into the 7 visibility blocks so you can know what these are. You really need to understand what is the root source of you not being okay with full visibility, showing up consistently as your most authentic self. And it's part of doing the work. Is it my ego? Is it my wound with my father? Is the wound with my mother? Is it how I want to be perceived by others? Do I have a fear of being judged by the people I love, by my family? You got to go in depth on what that is, and you got to strip these layers and do this work of integration. Until you don't do this, these fears are going to be running your life. And here's what I know to be truth in this life is that when you show up on a reel and you are showing up from this conditioned version of yourself that is still carrying the fear, people feel it.
Mm.
Human beings, we are so wired to read people's eyes, their energy, how they're sounding, that when you come and say, they will feel it. If seeing people saying, man, I can see behind what you're saying. I get your words, but the energy behind the words are not matching. So once we do this work and we are fully able to be seen real, raw, there is a deeper level of resonance and you feel okay with that visibility. Also, what happens when you don't do this work is that you go into, let's say, content challenges and you start posting for 10 days, 20 days. Has anyone here done a content challenge? Like 20 days content challenge? Okay. I've done a few of them. And, I've been on challenges with hundreds of people, and I see most people going through this. They go through the first stage of visibility for the first 10 days, and they drop out, they disappear. and they go into despair because the level of visibility is so uncomfortable that they completely hide. And then months later, they come back again and they start being seen again and then they hide again. And it's this constant, I'm going to show up. They do this for a few times and they hide again because it's really uncomfortable. So it's making the uncomfortable comfortable, integrating your shadows, and really honestly, learning how to love yourself for who you are, your expression, your
Mm.
life's journey, and just how you are with all your imperfections. Once you do this first pillar, everything becomes easier. Now, let's talk about content. This is what I call the triple C of content creation. And you need to get this triple C dialed in. If you do the first layer of the work, it's a lot easier. So the first one is clarity. Do people understand what you're saying? Is there clarity on your message and the point that you're trying to get? And I see that there's a lot of people that struggle with this. And it's not because they don't know what they're talking about or because a lot of the times they're rambling so much about something. But I would say I want to give you this shifting perspective about clarity that's going to change everything for you. Clarity is not so much about how you put your message out, but is where this message is coming from. Because if you're trying to share something that you watch someone saying and you really like it, and you want to go and replicate that in your content, you won't be able to talk about that as good because it didn't come from you. Or if you go to ChatGPT and say, give me 10 examples or 10 prompts that I can talk about, I don't know, biohacking, gut health, you might get those ideas. But because they haven't come from your lived experience and you haven't taken time to reflect upon those, it's not going to be very clear. So, what I want you to do now, I want you to take about 2 minutes to really think about things that you have taken time in your life to reflect on. What are things that you have experienced for yourself that you're passionate about, that you've experienced yourself, and that you come to certain conclusions that you would like to talk about? And if you can take some notes, I really encourage you to write down what are a few things that you really took time to think about, sit with it, contemplate about it. And if you can't find any, I would really encourage you to take time for contemplation. You know, the same way why I started this workshop. Why do I do this? Why do I want to do this workshop? For me, this is a process to go somewhere where I have a really nice view and I sit there and I ask, why am I doing this? Why is this important to me? And the deeper I go into these reflections, the more clarity I get and the more clarity I can bring into my message about the things that are really important to me. So as a leader, contemplation time is so important. And the first thing for you is to really dial down the things that you want to talk about and take time to contemplate about those things. And then you share your aha moments, the insights that you got. So that's the first C. The second C, so we have clarity. The second one is connection. And this is probably the most important. You've probably heard people saying that right now we live in this attention currency, that attention is more valuable than petrol. You need to get people's attention. But I actually, beyond attention, connection is the most important thing. Because there's a lot of people that they take my attention and it's not in a nice way. You know, how many times have you seen yourself scrolling on social media and you're distracted? Is there a relationship with that person that is posting a reel just to distract you and get your attention? So connection with people. And the way to connect with someone through your content is through emotions. And there's two aspects to this. The first one is how can you create an emotion in someone who is watching your reel? If you're putting a video out, if you're putting a carousel out, how are you creating an emotion in this person? Perhaps you're creating love, perhaps you're creating hope, joy, happiness. And sometimes you could be triggering someone. You could be calling them out, you know? You could say, hey, like if you call yourself this, but you do this, you are not embodied on the work that you do. And perhaps you trigger that person and they feel a bit angry, they feel a bit frustrated. As long as you're doing this from good intentions and love, calling a brother or sister out, I don't think there's any issue. So this is the first aspect of emotion. The second aspect of emotion is how emotionally connected are you with what you're talking about on social media? And that's why experiencing your life and sharing from your lived experience and bringing your emotions about the things you're talking about is really what creates connection. Some of my best performing reels are reels that I didn't think would go viral. Actually, my latest reel that went viral, I'm sitting in my couch and my wife is like, babe, I love what you said. Can you say that again? And she pulls her phone and films me. And I'm talking about something that I'm deeply passionate about, that I reflected so much, and it brings me so much hope and joy. Which is talking about how desires are just a reflection of your future. And everything that we desire is really the breadcrumbs for us to live the life that we're here to live. And I know that I've seen things happening in my life, which is almost like I remember this. I'm meant for this. So I was talking about this. And I remember I was almost deleting this reel. I put the captions, I was like, nah, I'm gonna delete it. It's just so random. I'm just rambling. And because I had the edit ready, I was like, you know what? Just post it. I woke up on the next day and I had about 30,000 views and then went over 100,000 views. And and that's just how it goes. So I have a lot of emotion on the things I share. And that's how we build connection in our content. And the third one is conviction. So clarity, connection, and conviction. You must have conviction about what you're talking about because people don't want to follow people who don't know what they're doing. And it's okay for you to show up and sometimes question yourself and your content. It's okay to say like, hey, I'm not sure about everything in life. Totally okay. But if there's a few things that you're going to talk about that are important to you, make sure you have conviction about those things. Conviction is sexy. It's really amazing to meet someone who is so certain about their path and what they're doing. And if you can create that within yourself with integrity, there's three elements on your content, which if you realize this is nothing to do with content creation, algorithm, or hacks, is the inner game. If you have these three, everything will shift for you. My perspective on conviction is we can only have conviction when we have doubt. So welcome the doubt to come in because if you question the things that you're doing, if the doubt is there, go deeper within the things that you believe in, the things that you stand for, because if they are really based in the truth, you'll come out of the doubt with even more conviction. And when someone presents you the same doubts, you navigate it through it. So I normally welcome doubt in my life. And if I'm doubting my own path, I'm like, amazing. If my path is really rooted in truth, is not the seed of doubt that will shake me out of it, but it will bring more conviction to me into my life. So is how do you guys how does this land for you? Is this clear? Is this something that you feel we can implement? Do you guys have any questions about it? I would love to open a space if anyone has any questions about this. All clear? Beautiful. All right. Now, the cool thing is that before that, Ella and I, we had a program called Inner Freedom. And Inner Freedom was all about self-liberation and helping you to be your most authentic self and share that with the world. fully be seen, release your visibility fears, but most importantly, take action towards your life's mission and what you're really here to do. And Tom was part of Inner Freedom, and we started, I think, about 6 months ago for now. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey. And when Tom began this journey, I remember he had a few reels about music, and they were already really good. And I remember Tom was really looking for his life mission. What am I really here to do? What do I really want to talk about this content? I don't want to talk about music anymore. There was a lot of lack of clarity. And I remember we took Tom through the entire process. We got very clear on what he wants to do in his life. And I think that is a huge important element for conviction. And we did a challenge. We did a 7-day show up and be seen challenge. And I remember Tom saying that from that moment on, everything changed. So, Tom, I would love to bring you on and yeah, share with us um, where did all this begin and share with us, what made you want to be seen more and create content that is authentic and be yourself?
Thank you, Iggy. Can you guys hear me okay? Good. Um, yeah, first off, thank you so much, Iggy. And I honestly cannot speak more highly about you and how instrumental you've been in my growth for, the last part of this year. Um, Inner Freedom was absolutely amazing for me. It really helped me move through the blocks um, of me actually stepping into more of who I actually am. And I think that when we actually become more of who we are, we're able to connect with people more deeply and help them become more of who they are. So it's sort of this ripple effect. The brighter the fire in our hearts, the more chance we have of setting alight that in the hearts of others. So, you know, uh, essentially my sort of background, just a really quick spiel on me. I'm sat in a studio, you might be able to see. So my background has been for 10 years I've been working in the music industry. And then I had this shift in which I realized that this was no longer aligning with who I was becoming. And through my own healing journey, I was becoming, and my own spiritual awakening, I was coming to the realization that I was meant for more. And um, but I couldn't quite connect with what that was. I had this deep inspiration and passion to help others shift from um, who they think they are to who they actually are. And so I began working with groups of men, and for the last 5 years, I've done facilitation work. But that's led me now to train as a therapist, a talk therapist. So currently in that training at the moment. But then I basically got back from the States. I went to Burning Man in America. I'm blessed enough to go and do shows out there. And I came back from the most recent one and was like, something's got to change here. I feel ready. I feel like I've done 10 years. I'm now 33. I've done about 10 years of healing work. I've done a fuckload of very strange and amazing deep workshops in that time to help me get to know who I am, to heal and deepen and integrate my sense of self. And I suddenly was like, I feel like I feel like grounded enough that I want to step forward more deeply. And then I was connected with Iggy, and so I have been doing these music stuff. I think it's really important to mention that the music reels I've been doing was when I was, so I had this project with a friend, and that was really successful. And I was touring around different parts of the world doing music performance. But essentially, this account had laid dormant, not on that project, but on me trying to do more production for other people as a solo thing, just me. This account had not been posted on for at least 2 years, but I always knew that this was going to be used for something more when I felt brave enough to actually step forward and be seen. Because my God, it is about being seen. When you put yourself in this space and you film yourself several times a week in a way that you are spreading a message, it is about being seen. And I have had to be I have grown so much through that process. I cannot explain how beneficial it has been to me. And I wouldn't be on this call and I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't passionately believe how much that's helped me in only 5 months. I began in January with 400 followers in this dormant account. And I then began after doing, and when I will explain this 7 day period of this challenge that I did through Iggy, I then just didn't stop. I just was like, even though it's uncomfortable and it's weird and it's new, and I'm having to deal with the judgment of the internet, who are real people, I was like, I'm just not going to stop. I'm just going to keep going because a deeper part of me knew that the next stage, it's one thing to get clear on who we are with our friends and family. It's a completely different thing to get clear on who we are with strangers in online space or the world. So it's been a really growthful, important part of my journey, and I will continue to do it because it's become a sort of spiritual practice and a growth practice for me. Um, and so yeah, and then very quickly I had a lot of success, and I've almost 10 times what I started with, and so you know it's been a testament to what Iggy's been able to tell me and how to show up, but also in allowing myself to commit to a message. I think this is fundamental that I think is bigger than me. So the message that was, and I think we all have shit that we go through in our lives. And I believe that if we truly meet those in an inward journey and we heal and move beyond them, they become the gifts that we're able to offer other people in this lifetime. And if we all did that, we would be able to serve every single person in this world from a heart-centered place that would create rapid transformation. So part of my mission has been recognizing where I've struggled, realizing now that I'm educated to spread my story and journey in a way that helps others to then overcome and transcend their own personal issues. And then we become, the candle that feeds the fire for others to transform in this way. So that's why it's so important to me. And the reason I've been consistent is because if I let go of the ego wants to protect me, the fear, the worry about how I'm being perceived. But it's like I try to focus on what's more important, me worrying about how I'm being seen or somebody being, getting the information that they need.
Tom, can I ask you a
Um,
question? Can you share with us that
mhm.
moment of the challenge? Because I remember you went with challenges with your family, trying to intervene on you showing up and the things you're sharing. And you had friends as well. Because I think for a lot of people, when we start showing up on social media with these strangers is okay. But what about the closest people to us that have an image about who we are, and then they're seeing us on social media talking about other things? So if you can share with us, how was your inner process to navigate through these challenges and these voices that are telling you, thinking about everyone else? Yeah,
Yeah.
how was that for you?
Oh God. Yeah. It's gotten easier because people become more used to the version of me that I'm putting online, which is actually just like the real me, like, and there might be some nerves and some things that translate on camera, but but really it's like, yeah, and it's like this heart-centered, caring me. And some people don't know that. And also some of the stuff that I bring, they know that, but not in this way. And so basically, yeah, to speak to what you were saying, um, it can be difficult to talk about struggles I've gone through when I have, you know, my dad's not really on social media, but my mum is connected, and you know, and friends, and everyone's got a different thing to say about what I'm saying because I'm being really honest, and that's gonna touch people or trigger them or whatever. And so yeah, I did have to move through these barriers, as you say. It's in here and it's out there. And I had my mum was very concerned about me. I've posted videos of me crying because I've said, I want to show that it's okay to be vulnerable as a man, or as anyone, but especially as a man in today's culture. And so but people can see that and worry about me and be like, "What the fuck's wrong with Tom?" And and also my mum, she can, and I can understand, feels like a bad mother because she wants the world to think that I'm perfect and I don't have anything to heal, because then she's done a perfect job, which is obviously impossible. No mother, none of us go through this experience without picking up some pain and wounds. So yeah, to move through those blocks. I think it just that's why I decided to call my page Tom Heartled because it all comes back to the heart for me. Um, when I with my mum and with others who've disagreed or had their own opinions, I just try and focus on, okay, well, what does my heart want to say to them? Because I feel like the more I'm coming from here, the less I'm coming from here, less I'm coming from my ego or my pain or whatever. I seem to just get clear on what I want to say to others. And so I spoke to my mum. I met it head on and I sat down and I said, look, I love you, but there's things in my life that were challenging. And I see those as the gold I can then offer others who are going through their own challenges. And so I'm going to I sat down and actually it's pushed me to be really honest with and have deep conversations with people that I never fucking thought I ever would have or wanted to have. Some of you will know through following my journey that I went to a boarding school in England and I had to go through my own healing to allow myself and move through the shame of being this privileged kid to recognize that that was actually an extremely traumatic experience to be away from my home without love or physical touch, appropriate touch, um, and to own that that was a difficult time has been something that's been really important because I never spoke to my parents about how hard that was. And that I was really bullied, and then I was in this institution 24/7. And so, again, through my own healing, I was able to sit with my mum and say, "Look, I've never talked to you about this, but this was a really challenging time for me, and I'm gonna be opening up about it more because I think that that's what my heart's asking me to do. And even though it's scary, I fully believe that it helps. It's amazing because it helps me grow and heal more. And then I also think that it's obviously helpful for others, or they wouldn't be tuning in. So, case in point, people will try and hold you back because they love you, or they will be pissed off by it. But it's just more growth. It's more fuel. It's all fuel for me to get clear on who I am, what I want, and if I can meet that with compassion always first, then I think that it's only a really great thing.
Yeah. I love that you shared about how helpful it was for your own journey. And what I'm saying is that normally when we go into this stage of I want to share more and I want to be seen, and I know that's required of me, that is the ultimate healing because you can be doing the work, in the background. Yes, I'm working on myself, my mindset, but no one is seeing it. But once you put yourself out, you got to have a level of preparation because everyone's going to have an opinion. Everyone's going to have
Yeah.
something to say. And how are you to take all these opinions and sometimes even harsh attacks towards you and be like, hey, that means nothing about me. People are just projecting what my message is coming about. And if it triggers me, yes, there's probably something for me that is still affects. But in reality, people are constantly projecting their worldview on us. And sometimes the people that we love the most do that the most. I've been blessed with amazing parents who never did that to me. But, with the people that I work, we even had one person in the group that her family did an intervention because they really thought that she needed help, that she was losing her mind by simply talking and sharing her heart on social media. But what I've seen, I don't know where you are on your this stage, but once you move past this, you really become that beacon of transformation for your family, of being real and you being fully authentic and releasing the fear of the judgment and playing small. You are creating new possibilities for people, your own lineage, that can get inspired by you to be more of themselves and feel safe to do so. And yeah, and Tom, I love your videos. And I've seen you post videos that went super viral. I remember the first ones that you posted that really picked up, and it was, so many people debating on the comments about what you're doing, which was pretty funny. What was your
Yes.
process to, create the videos on the way that you create? Because your videos are super authentic, and I feel like you pick inspiration from wherever you are. If you see a beautiful tree, you pick the inspiration and you create something out of it. So if you can take us through your process of creation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure it's like it varies for people, but I can definitely explain what is working for me. So, um, I suppose we have to come back to like the initial idea. Like, how do I get an idea? Um, I think it's just being really present every day with, I have a really noisy mind, and it's been a blessing and a curse. Um, so through meditation and through just honoring being more present in my day, I just try and be aware of what I'm thinking. And then throughout my day, there'll just suddenly something will pop in. There'll be at least one or two things a day that will just suddenly be like something that I really care about, or something that's really helped me, or something I'll notice in the everyday. And that's it. Like I think that the richest content comes from me, from us. Like, or you get ideas, get ideas from people and stuff, and you can riff on it. But like, I think that we each have a unique story to tell. And as it's what Iggy said, like we connect with that experience. And so, yeah, I will suddenly remember something from my past, or something I care deeply about because it's something I transcended or that's helped me live better. And then I'll just talk about it. I've tried to get better at then just literally bringing out my camera and just filming it. But I have done days where I just save the ideas and then come back to them. But I think that what I'm learning recently is that like actually inspiration thrives, when you just act on it straight away, right? And people can feel that. So I will, yeah. So I just pull my camera out. Again, it's like trusting that the more you do, and repetition is the mother of skill. Okay, that is not complicated. That's just how it is. If you want to get good at something, do it again and again and again and again. And so when you see these people speaking on Instagram and they're so fluid, and you're like, how are they so coherent? They have just shown up so many fucking times. So you have to believe that you're going to get there through, showing up again and again and again. So I'll do a video and then I try to just do it in one take because then that will train me that um, it's good enough. I'm good enough to do it in one, and then I will just chop it if needed to be more of a coherent message. I think that there's always this battle, but going on a bit because it's like you could leave it as a fluid. Um, I want it to be like a fluid. I don't want it to be over edited basically because it's like authentic content. But a coherent, concise message is really important for retention. So I kind of balance between those two. And yeah, at the start, it was uncomfortable because you'll glitch a lot more. So glitching is obviously when you go, or like, you just run out of what you're saying, or you don't want to quite say it that way. And that's because I can't perceive if you're an empathetic person, which I imagine most people here are because you're connecting with this kind of content and you want to do this, you like freeze up because you're like, oh my God, um, I don't know how I'm going to be perceived. But the journey I'm realizing, having shown up again and again, is letting go of how I'm being perceived and focusing more on my truth. And some people are going to like that, and other people aren't. And I have no control over that. So it's just being as real as I can. And actually, the more I dare to actually be real or say the thing that I didn't want to say, the thing that my shame went, don't say that. They'll say something in the comments. The more I actually dare to say that, the more it's like I notice it's like a polarizing thing. People will be drawn, magnetized to you, but then also people will be repulsed. And then that comes back to just like, there's this thing I really wanted to share, which is like, I don't know if this image will come up, but this is why a lot of it does come to like meeting ourselves first, is like, you can't shame somebody who's already made peace with their shadow. So like if there's this image, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but like I love this account and it's just so true. So as you make this content, I think it's so important that we are doing this kind of inner work because whatever anyone says, if I've already met that part of myself, then they can't touch me,
Mhm.
you know? About how I look, about how I speak, about anything to do about my views. Like if I've already met it with love and accepted that part of myself, I can't be rejected. So anyway, I got on a bit of a tangent there of
Yeah.
like I can go more deeply into the content stuff if you'd like, Iggy. Like
No, that's perfect, man. I love that. And we discussed so many times on how to deal with hate comments. And sometimes there are comments that are so hateful. And,
yeah,
I had people that they really go through my page and they scroll through and they find things about my life to bring that up on comments.
yeah,
And when you do the work, I look at this as like, gosh, I feel love for this person, someone who takes so much time to dig into my life to try to make me feel down. I wish nothing but so much love for them. And I always reply with so much love. Not
yeah,
in oh, I'm so much better and I wish you love. It's like, no, I truly hope that you find what you're looking for. And it's been so many times that I get people messaging me saying that they don't know where they came from, that they apologize, that's not who they are. And it reminds them of their truth. So if someone posts a hate comment on my page, being the alchemist is how can I alchemize this back into their essence and their love? And hey, I don't take this personally, and that's okay. And yeah, I know that you're better than this. You don't need to spread so much hate. And so many times I get really people coming back to their hearts through those. But yeah, it's so important to do that inner work so we're not, you know, controlled by all those things that will happen with visibility.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think also seeing it as a mirror is really important. So like I don't know if you guys maybe some of you are familiar with this, but like they people everything everybody says, if you're just showing up authentically, everything that they say is just a reflection, in my opinion, is a reflection of how they're relating to themselves, right? So you daring to express your truth is going to trigger others because it's making them aware of where they're not doing that. So it's just basically case in point, don't take it personally. And actually, everything I do take personally becomes a gift on where I'm not loving myself more deeply enough.
Beautiful.
That's how I approach all of it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing all of this, Don. And man,
Yeah.
I really admire you. I admire how committed you are, and you really, let go of yourself a lot in this process to for a higher purpose and a higher mission. And you
Mm.
take action, and that's why you've been seeing so many results in your life. And we love to see, your growth. That's unstoppable. So yeah, it's an honor to hear from you as well. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Guy.
And from the people on the call, I don't know, you can unmute yourself or you can just type on the chat. I would love to hear what you do and what do you want to talk more about. So if you're here, probably feel called to post more on Instagram and share something. What is that you're passionate about or that you do that you work with that you want to share? I would love to have an idea because I want to take you through an exercise. And if I know this will be more precise. Feel free to unmute yourself and just share. This is the time for you to be seen and be heard as well.
I'll go first.
Thank you.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me okay? Hi,
Yes.
I'm Eve, and it's really nice to be here with you all. I really enjoyed that, and it's shed a huge amount of light on exactly what I'm going through. So I'm a little bit older than what seems to be the general age range in this group, and having coming into Instagram, I had to actually learn how to do it. Someone had to teach me. Couldn't even use the search bar. I was that much out of touch with it. And my account's been open for about a year and it's kind of leveled out a little bit. What I found hard is once I got my head around what a reel, a carousel, and then getting easier in actually creating that content, almost just getting the foundation of the account up and running. I then was hit with vulnerability and visibility online on a personal journey.
Yeah.
And I'm done with that. Like I have a lot of experience in what I do, which is not relevant here, but I'm struggling to share that message. Um, and it's time, like Tom said, to just say it anyway. And I think it was really interesting hearing about um, the closer relationships in family and friends and the visibility online is the ones that roll round in the head. The comments and the haters, whatever, they just, like you say, respond with love. It usually resolves.
Mm,
But the closer circles are definitely harder because for me, there's this burden of obligation. My family is all on social media, and the fact that I hesitated is really where that block is I'm too frightened to speak up about the secrets in the family that actually got me to this healing path of where I am today. And I think maybe when you were talking, Tom, like, the heart to hearts, those moments have passed for me. My parents are elderly and they have Alzheimer's dementia. They don't remember the drama of the past. And so it's actually got a little bit easier to speak more about that. But there's this sort of age bracket of the older siblings of my own and within the extended family who are very much eyes on. And it's uncomfortable. I'm finding it really, really difficult to get over that hurdle. Yet this is what's required of my business and the brand. Like those are words that are still relatively new to me. So it's nice to hear that someone else is going through this. And I'm not sure I would be comfortable showing tears and things online. It's not that I wouldn't be willing to do that. It perhaps wouldn't be more appropriate in the field of work that I'm in. But I really got a lot out of this. It's given me some things to really think about. And yeah, thank you very much for sharing your stories, both of you. It's exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank you, Eve.
And
And
hopefully it'll all
Eve,
be okay.
what do you do?
I am a biodynamic psychotherapist. I am a retired dancer. I've worked with the body all of my life, so somatic breath work, those kind of things. So if I
Mhm.
show up online crying, I'm not sure that my clients would want to come to session. So there is
Right.
a somewhat a little boundary here of being vulnerable, but not necessarily sharing the darker days. Maybe that will come in the future, but it's not
Hmm.
relevant. I think it could be quite damaging if I did that at this time. I can talk about the journey and the healing, but for me, that level of vulnerability and crying online is just not something that sits comfortably personally because I feel there's a professional boundary here.
Right.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. These things are very common, and whether it's with the family or whether it's with clients. And I want you to know that everybody goes through this. If I post this, will people still want to work with me? Will I lose clients? Or what will happen if I talk about this with my family? The importance of doing, and I'm sure you know about the inner work with these things, is that we are tested in these moments to see how truthful we are willing to be. And I never tell people just go crazy and start speaking and see what happens. Because yeah, a lot of things happens when you do it. But once you have these strong foundations, when you face these fears and you face those, how people will perceive me, will my business stop if I show that, my life is crumbling? What I've seen a lot of the times is the opposite. Because it's not about what we share, it's how we share it. You know,
Okay.
I can share that, right now, I'm going through a lot of challenging times as I'm building a house, I'm moving house, I'm changing nannies. Gosh, life is so much, but it's okay. I'm grateful for even these challenges. And there's times that I sit down like, oh my God, it's just so much. can I really handle this? I'm like, yes, I can. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. So I can talk about this because the place that's coming from is not a unloading or I don't know how to handle my life. But that's life. Challenges happens for everyone. And I'm not going to be pretending that I don't go through challenges. What I don't have, what doesn't happen to me is that I don't suffer. So challenges are inevitable. Suffering is a choice.
Yes.
And so, yeah, just know you can talk about anything and everything is how you talk, but also your nervous system capacity to handle what happens after. But I want you to know that
Make,
you're
well,
always
make the
safe.
plan and let go of the outcome, right? Like there's nothing you can really do and control other people, places, etc. Like I get that, but still there is this inner child in me that's like, oh my God, and that is the bit that I really wanted to change and why I came to this workshop because I'm tired of that. I'm tired of
Yeah,
shrinking because when I meet people out and about and the old-fashioned way of genuinely showing up and meeting people, like networking in that way, that's strong, but online, not so much. And I feel like I'm missing out a little bit. I want to be part of this new digital generation. I've had the benefit of seeing it from both sides. I didn't grow up first mobile phone at 22. I'm, over 50. So it's a really new way of doing things. I can kind of call it like the modern day yellow pages, but with emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also
And
just want to say, sorry, Iggy, is
good,
it
please go
Eve?
on.
Yes,
Eve, yeah. I just want to say, like, I really hear your struggle with this wanting to be authentic online, but then also that your family, it can be a really big thing opening up about your personal story because there are others, the siblings that were there, and it feels like they're almost like pulled into that. So I just want to say that I really get that. I just wonder, what I would wonder is like, is there a way that you can just own your truth in a way that doesn't affect them in the sense that where then I would just be mindful of how I can do that in a way that doesn't involve them too
of
much in the
course,
story.
of
And
course, but they have their opinion. I guess that's
well,
the thing
that's
and that's the thing I'm frightened of.
and that's so understandable. And I'm not going to project and sit here. I have two siblings, and one of them, you know, he doesn't get what I'm doing at all. Like he's not in this place, and and then my parents, they're just like don't get it. But my point is that I suppose I would meet like what are you most afraid of in the way that they would react to you, and is that something that you think in time would pass? Because what I notice is the more that initially people are like, oh my God, what is this version of Eve or Tom? But then people would just go, "Oh, okay, well, they just do that thing now. And, that's just what they do." So it's like there can be an adjustment period. So I'm just wondering for you, whether I don't know you or your family, I just wanted to wonder if that was a place where you where there if there was room for growth in which they could just settle into this being a new part of your expression, or whether you think it would have a permanent impact on things.
That's a wider conversation. I'm benefited that they are older. They probably don't care as much as the circle in my mind. I mean, we have abilities to overthink these things. And it's
Yeah,
not that they're not supported. The family is fragmented in many ways. I'm not going to lose anything.
yeah,
But I guess there's that inner child because of the learned behavior from my staff,
yeah,
you know, be seen and not heard.
yeah, yeah.
So for
Exactly.
them, it's more a case of what the hell? But like you say, there's an adjustment process, and with that comes acceptance. And like the perception is that's just something she does now.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to lower my expectations.
Yeah. And but one thing I just want to highlight here is that there's this bracing for something that hasn't actually happened.
Totally.
Right? So
I'm
yeah, so
there. I'm
you,
there. That's exactly where I am.
exactly. Exactly. And it's very real because there's this child that you recognize inside yourself that's afraid. But one of the greatest things, I'm sure you already know this, is that we have to spend the time to go in, to speak with, to love, to hold that child. But the second part of it, and this is where content is so powerful, is that when we step up and be seen and speak as an adult, we show that child that actually it's safe now.
You're absolutely right. But I'm not applying it to myself. I
Yeah,
will work on this because this is the hurdle. This is not an external thing. This is totally internal. It's like the last little,
Yes.
emergence of come on, come on. And I'm
Yeah.
like you, I'm coming from a heart place and I'm ready, but I'm also fearful.
Well, the fact that you're here is a huge step. So just
Yeah,
honor that, and I have every faith that you're going to figure out exactly how you want to proceed with this.
thank you.
so I do want to honor your guys' time as well. I want to take you through a very quick exercise, and that's going to help you is even if you are struggling to put yourself out for whatever reason, if it's family, if it's peers or clients. So there's one thing on Instagram right now, and I highly encourage everyone to use is trial reels. Do you guys know about trial reels? Okay. So when you post to your reels, when you're about to post and you write the caption, if you scroll down, there's going to be a section that says trial reels. And basically what they do is they will not show those reels to your followers. They show these reels to about 150 to 200 people who don't follow you. And depending on how that goes, it shows to more people. So the beauty of that is that everyone that you perhaps don't want to watch your reels, they will not watch your reels, and there's always new people watching your reels. I'm going to share one quick strategy that is working really well, but of course, for that, the more comfortable you are speaking in front of the camera, the better, which is when you get on trial reels, start talking in front of the camera without editing, without polishing your message, because as Tom said, it takes practice. Creating content and speaking in front of the camera is almost like playing an instrument. You need to put hours of work into it. So with trial reels, start talking about things that really matter to you. Remember the triple C, clarity, because it came from you. You have connection. There's emotions that you can bring into the story that you're sharing. And there's conviction about what you're saying. And just talk and post. Eventually, some reels will start to get better results than others. The topics that you talk about that get better results create more and more reels. The thing is, I can take one topic that I want to talk about, and I talk about this thing in 3 different ways, and I post them on trials. Some reels will go really well, some will completely flop, and I just keep doing it. So this is an amazing way for you to get the reps, practice, see what people are interested about what you're talking about, and remove the weight of your family members and other people watching your reels until you become more comfortable with it. So that's a way that we can, integrate it slowly. And I highly encourage you to do this. And I actually want to encourage you to actually take action right now. What really changes, we can come into this workshop and we're like, wow, this things make so much sense. I'm glad to connect with people who've been through this experience and how you navigated through it. But how much are you actually implementing of the things you learn? And implementation is embodiment. So I really urge you to take action right after this workshop. And here's what I want you to do. The easy path for you to do it. I want you to take 1 minute now to connect with one thing that you learned today that was a bit of a aha moment. What was one thing that you heard is like, wow, this is good. I like that. Or this is such a good perspective. And really take the time, take 1 minute now for you to write this down, maybe on your phone, maybe on a notebook, one aha moment that you had. Perhaps your biggest takeaway of this workshop. And here's my challenge for you. And I hope you really take it because the moment that you do this, action is what's going to change everything in your life. And I guarantee that is the shift. The shift will happen when you do this. As soon as we close this Zoom meeting, I want you to take your phone, film a 60-second video saying, I'm not asking for promotion. You can say, I was just in this workshop. So I just got out of a workshop on visibility. And I heard this phrase or I heard this message that made so much sense to me, which is, and say, what do you say the aha moment? share one lesson that you've learned with other people. But remember, don't just repeat something. Take that thing that really felt, brought you home within you, and talk about it. And perhaps you can relate to it. And I like this so much because in my experience, be real on that. And if you feel comfortable, you can post that on your feed or can be your first trial reel, and you can use that as a trial. But I guarantee the moment that you do this, something will shift instantly. So I urge you to do it. I want to open for 5 minutes very quickly. If anyone wants to share what was your biggest takeaway on this workshop, or perhaps what was your aha moment, I would love to hear. And I think that helps you to sink in the lesson as well. So you can just unmute yourself. Let's just be mindful of the time as well. So we're not going over time, but yeah, unmute yourself and come on. Anyone wants to go first or anyone wants to go at all?
I can speak.
Yes,
Oh,
Ben.
hello.
Ben.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, it's been good for me. It's just kind of more research for me. Like again, just seeing how you hold this space. I do this work myself. I'm holding a container at the moment with people. Very much this work, supporting people to, yeah, be seen, work through that, build safety in the body, and build something that really aligns, business, project, masterclass, whatever it is. So yeah, it's really supported me. I've actually got a masterclass coming up in 10 days, very similar to this. So I'm really just, yeah, interested in also seeing Tom's journey of his growth and his evolution in these past months. So very curious how he's been supported and yeah, definitely see the the power in your work and the shifts that it's brought for Tom. Um, so yeah, it's good. It's definitely yeah, I think again I resonate with pretty much everything that's been shared here, and it's stuff that I'm navigating still in myself. And it's fascinating how it kind of does get easier because again it's just practice, but the fears are still there, right? Like I've been doing this for years and they still come up. And I think what's amazing, it's like it's the deepest shadow work we can do is posting online. It's the deepest healing work we can do. Like it really is. It's a daily thing that you can commit to and constantly be met with these fears. Because as I'm sure all of us know, they go more subtle and subtle, the layers of healing. It doesn't just disappear, right? Or it doesn't just get healed. So yeah, it's fascinating years in. And because each video is different, each like we're evolving constantly, and so like there's these different parts of us that are coming forward that feel safe to come forward as we do the inner work, and then they're being seen. So it's just this constant healing journey which I love, and it's yeah, something that's changed my life, and just being real and authentic and vulnerable, and definitely trial reels I resonate. That's something that's, yeah, a big game changer. And yeah,
And Ben,
like you said, it's yeah, go for it. You got a
is there
question
like
or?
one thing that you want to take just because we're mindful of time? One
Yeah, of
thing
course.
that you're like, I'm gonna talk about this that's being a aha moment for
Hmm.
me today.
Yeah, I like at the start when you said changing changing culture, we change the world. I think there's something on the culture piece. So I think I
Mm,
like building a new culture, new what does that mean? And I think that's something I'm building in my life and with my community. And I think there's something quite valuable there. What does it mean to change the culture? What is the culture that we're stepping into, that I'm stepping into, and that we're building? So yeah, I like that.
I love that, brother. Thanks for sharing.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you, brother.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to come and share your biggest insight and what you're going to be talking about after this workshop? If no one wants to share, we can end here. Yeah. Okay. No worries. Okay, that's great. Still, even if you haven't shared, I really urge you to go and post something. I guarantee there will be a shift. And very quickly, I don't know if you follow each other on Instagram. If we do, you can find me at Awaken with Iggy, and you can find Tom at Tom. @heartled. And also, just a quick announcement that Ella and I, my wife and I, we are taking one-on-one clients to work very closely with us and go through the Inner Freedom program. If you feel called to do that, you can just reach out to us as well. We'll be here to support you. And yeah, just come and share a message with us. We love connecting with our tribe, so we're always here for you guys. Tom, I can't see you. Are you still there?
Yeah, have I disappeared?
Yes, your camera, I think your camera's off. You're
Is my
back.
camera am I back?
I can see him. I can see him.
Okay, good.
Would you like to
Thank you.
share some final words, Tom?
Yeah, just content or not, don't let your perception of what others think of you get in the way of who you are or who you were born to be.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, brother. Beautifully said. Yeah, here's for a life of more of yourself, more real, more expression. Express yourself. That's the greatest gift you can bring into the world. And your presence alone is a gift. So
Yeah.
thank you, everyone, for being present here with us today. I honor you. I love you so much. And I will see you somewhere in the internet.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Uh,
Yep.